Is privacy the final barrier to a perfect society, or is it the very foundation of our freedom? As the world grapples with a global crisis of faith in leadership, Norway has taken a breathtaking leap into the unknown with its 2026 radical transparency mandates. At World Perspective, we're interrogating how this total institutional openness is re-engineering the social contract. This is the birth of radical trust, a shift from traditional, often sclerotic representative democracy toward a hyper-verified civic architecture. By dissecting the geopolitical implications of algorithmic accountability and digitized trust, we map a future that challenges established European norms regarding state power. It is a provocative shift, an evolution where the black box of governance is dismantled in favor of a sunlit, verifiable reality. 1. The epistemological chasm of state secrecy. The fundamental issue with modern governance is the widening gap between the lived experience of the citizen and the hidden decisions of the state. An epistemological chasm where trust goes to die. Norway's 2026 mandates address this by implementing a public-first data architecture, where every administrative action is logged on an immutable, real-time ledger. While this is a massive leap, we can make it even better by moving beyond mere raw data and employing decentralized, community-led, sense-making collectives. These would allow citizens to not only see the data, but to collaboratively interpret its impact on their local communities. This ensures that transparency is not just a passive broadcast, but an active, optimistic dialogue that empowers the individual over the bureaucracy. 2. Neutralising the sclerotic algorithm. As state functions are increasingly managed by automated systems, we face the dire risk of algorithmic bias, where historical prejudices are baked into the future of public service. Norway has countered this by mandating open-source statecraft, requiring every line of code used in public assessments to be auditable by any citizen. To refine this further, we should adopt continuous red teaming, where global ethical hackers are incentivized through a national bounty system to identify and rectify biases before they ever impact a human life. This turns a potential tech dystopia into a high-trust digital environment, proving that technology, when stripped of its secrecy, can be the ultimate engine of industrial equity and fairness. 3. Dissolving the fiscal mirage. Traditional annual budgets are essentially fiscal mirages, vague promises that mask inefficiencies and the misallocation of national wealth. Norway's current solution is a live fiscal dashboard that tracks every krona in real time. Yet the issue remains that tracking waste is not the same as preventing it. We can improve this by implementing predictive resource allocation, using high-level heuristics to identify potential budgetary bottlenecks before they occur. By shifting from a reactive tracking model to a proactive optimization model, the state ensures that public funds are always flowing toward the highest collective good. This results in an incredibly lean, efficient, and optimistic state apparatus that prioritizes results over paperwork. 4. Resolving the privacy paradox. Radical transparency often creates a friction point between the state's need for openness and the individual's right to a private life, the privacy paradox. Norway currently utilises zero-knowledge proofs to verify eligibility for services without storing sensitive personal data, which is a brilliant technical fix. However, we could elevate this by establishing personal data sovereignty vaults, where the individual, not the state, holds the literal and metaphorical keys to their information. By placing the citizen at the centre of the data map, we ensure that transparency is a one-way street pointing toward the government, while the individual's glasshouse remains a private, secure sanctuary. 5. Mapping the lobbying shadow. The perception that a rigged system is driven by hidden actors remains a primary cause of social unrest across the West. Norway's 2026 mandates require a digital influence map for every policymaker, yet this still focuses largely on formal meetings. To truly solve the issue of backroom influence, we should move toward a verifiable deliberation model, where all policy advice, whether from a think tank or an industry titan, must be published with a full provenance of interest report. This would allow the public to see exactly which arguments shaped a law, fostering a political culture where the best ideas win based on their intellectual merit, rather than the depth of the advocate's pockets. 6. Eradicating the inertia of office. Institutional mediocrity often thrives in the dark, where lack of accountability allows public services to become ossified and slow. Norway's solution is to publish real-time performance metrics for every department, from surgery wait times to rail efficiency. To make this even more effective, we should introduce dynamic meritocratic incentives, where departmental funding is directly linked to citizen-verified satisfaction and outcome-based data. By gamifying excellence in public service, the state can shed its sclerotic image and operate with the velocity of a world-class technology firm. This creates a government that doesn't just function, it excels, providing an optimistic blueprint for the future of civil service. 7. Navigating the deluge of detail. A common problem with radical transparency is information overload, where a deluge of data is used to hide the truth in plain sight. Norway is currently fighting this through a national civic literacy initiative. Yet even the most literate citizen can be overwhelmed. A superior method would be the integration of human-centric synthesis engines, specialized AI that doesn't just show data, but explains the why behind policy changes in plain, accessible language. This bridges the gap between complex legalities and everyday life, ensuring that the transparency mandates result in true clarity rather than mere noise, turning the citizenry into a truly informed and motivated force for social evolution. 8. Strengthening the trust premium. On the global stage, Norway risks becoming a trust island in a sea of geopolitical suspicion, making cooperation with less transparent nations difficult. The current Norwegian strategy is to use its trust premium to attract ethical investment. But we can do more. We should advocate for global integrity protocols, where Norway leads a coalition of high-trust nations in a shared, transparent trade bloc. By making radical trust a prerequisite for entry, Norway can export its civic architecture to its neighbours, turning a local policy into a global standard for stability. This transforms transparency from a domestic experiment into a powerful tool for international peace and cooperation. 9. Securing the fragile record. Centralized national databases are inherently vulnerable to both state-sponsored manipulation and external cyber attacks. Norway has mitigated this by migrating to a public interest blockchain. But as quantum computing advances, even these ledgers face potential compromise. The better approach is quantum-resistant immutability, using post-quantum cryptographic standards to ensure that the nation's records are safe for centuries. By protecting the integrity of the record against any future technology, we guarantee that history and law cannot be rewritten by a single political faction. This provides a bedrock of stability that is as permanent and resilient as the Norwegian landscape itself. 10. Closing the democratic drift. The agency gap, where leaders drift from their mandates between elections, is the ultimate flaw in representative democracy. Norway's 2026 model of liquid mandates allows citizens to verify that their representatives are voting in alignment with promised data-driven goals. To perfect this, we should introduce real-time alignment feedback, a system where representatives receive immediate, non-binding sentiment data from their constituents before a final vote. This ensures that the state and the people move in a perfectly synchronized, transparent dance. It fosters a new era of authentic leadership, where the representative is not a distant ruler, but a verified navigator of the people's collective will. Conclusion: the architect of trust. In conclusion, Norway's experiment with radical trust is more than just a policy shift. It is a fundamental re-engineering of human social evolution. By leaning into the discomfort of total openness, Norway is bridging the chasm of distrust that currently haunts the Western world. While the transition is fraught with digital challenges, the rewards of a society defined by integrity and verified freedom are immense. At World Perspective, we believe that this glass house model is the ultimate salvation for modern democracy. This stands in fascinating contrast to the maritime agility we explored in our previous feature, the cultural archipelago, where the UK chose a different path of isolation. Both models, however, reflect an optimistic search for sovereignty in a complex world. Together, we are witnessing the birth of a new civic architecture that turns the light of transparency into the fuel for a high-trust global future. If the survival of democracy depends on the total death of government secrecy, are we prepared to pay the price of our own transparency to achieve a truly honest world?